Right, so the Reserve Bank Policy Committee has resolved to keep the repo rate at 6.75%. The Reserve Bank Governor Lesetja Kganyago says he expects inflation to remain low at 4.4%, but says this may increase during the year. To discuss what it means for the ordinary South African, we chat to economist and founder of Nascent's Advisory, Payi. Nice to see you.
Thanks, it's great to be here again.
Yeah, I'm so happy. Okay, firstly, before we get into that, you obviously were sitting in studio listening to what the Minister has to say. What did you make of that?
Look, I think we are in a much better position than the last time they went.
Oh, yes.
And definitely you can hear him, he's a positive and there's a lot of energy there. So I think that's a much better thing, and I think in a big way, actually, it's also much more comfortable. It's really nice to send him out into the world with this kind of confidence where you can hear, he's very much now affair with the issues and that are discussed and actually, even in his own position. So it was really a pleasure listening to him.
Yeah, it was this morning. And I mean, let's be real, because there's been this shroud of state capture, and we don't really know what's been happening behind closed doors with regard to the economy and deals and Eskom. I mean, we get a glimpse into all of it: Eskom, Transnet, state-owned enterprises, our economy, the money, the downgrades. I mean, it's just, there was so much happening. Sure. Now, it almost feels like, the lifting of the lid is coming, and we can actually focus on business as usual now and or business unusual, because that's how it's been for South Africa lately. Sure. And perhaps this is the turning point.
Look, it does feel like it. I think, he was speaking about Eskom yesterday, and he said, look, this thing is going to sink us. We need to fix it. And I think this is something that everybody has been talking about for quite some time. And government had taken a long time to actually call it what it is. And I think in a big way now, that sort of realization that actually Eskom could bankrupt us, it could actually destroy the South African economy. It's something that he said, which has been said for quite a while. And I think now there's a much more bigger momentum where he says we're going to hear a lot of changes coming through in the next few days, and that's also very positive, because as you know, we can't be in a situation where we were with Eskom before, where we suddenly had power cuts, because that would actually destroy the economy for sure. Yeah. And certainly there isn't enough money to pay them to actually keep going, and certainly they will have to find some plan to make sure that Eskom survives, because in a big way they also will put a lot of pressure on the fiscus, and we know that it's already struggling.
This message of unity, I want to emphasize this and talk about the fact that there's almost a new face representing South Africa when it comes to, our Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa has been a while, but as we heard the Minister now saying, there is this impression that he is going to win overwhelmingly in 2019 and become the President of South Africa. So this face is going there to represent our country at Davos in World Leaders. He himself is a successful businessman that knows business inside out. I can only imagine this is going to bode well for our country. Look,
I heard you were giving the Minister a compliment about being early, and the Deputy President is very much clearly a man of time and order. And it's something that we've been needing for quite some time. The stability, this order, that things are actually going on time, there's an order to what we are doing, there's a strategy. And I think there's a big way in which people are hoping that he becomes president as soon as possible, and that we get to that kind of work that he seems to be, have promised in terms of our minds at least, and the expectations that are there, that he actually is bringing something much bigger than what we've been able to have for a while.
All right, Kanti, I'm going to bang some questions at you, and this is like one of those moments you have to answer yes, no, 3 bags full. Okay, yesterday, this is the reason you came in, to talk about the interest rates. Unchanged, some people were expecting a cut. What did you think of that?
Yeah, I think the cut was definitely not on the cards. Remember that there are a lot of risks in the outlook, even though we've seen inflation coming down, the rand has been stronger, but we still have also some issues. The downgrades have not gone away. There's certainly some pressures in terms of, the economy. So the Reserve Bank needs to hold on to the ammunition that they have, so that actually they'll be able to use it, whether they use it upwards or downwards. So they don't want to be able to cut and then suddenly have to reverse that, because that will actually wear down the credibility of monetary policy. So I think in a way they would have had to keep it until such time that they need the ammunition, because the central bank doesn't have much more than this.
Just, Kanti, do you think we should be seeing some cuts this year, though?
I think it would be really, really nice, because the economy is under a lot of pressure. Okay. If the rand stays this stable, and certainly if the positivity in terms of policy and stability stays this way, we should be able to actually see some...
However, South Africans mustn't get too happy because, and this is my final question before everyone shouts at me, but I think South Africans need to know, it's not a time that you can go buy a new car, new house and start overspending. South Africa is still in junk status. We are still in tough times.
Yeah. Still have to be very, very cautious because still there's a lot of risk on the outlook. So certainly South Africans need to be very, very careful about how they actually conduct themselves.
All right, Kanti Payi, thank you. You're a pleasure to chat to. Economist and founder of Nascent's talking to us here on the program. It is 7 o'clock. Let's get our news bulletin to you.